hey, E3 2022 is just around the corner, sort of. E3
2022 is cancelled.
That's the thing. E3 is simultaneously it's Schrodinger's E3. E3 is dead. Long live E3.
I gotta buy that shirt of Jeff Grubb and Mike Minardi fucking posing on top of the grave of E3. I need to buy that shirt. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
Yeah, it's a very used shirt, but also it's very good.
It's really funny.
So yes, the ESA isn't running E3 this year.
They couldn't handle me being part of the press list last year.
You're right. You're too hot to handle. The only thing that can contain you is Minimap
and PAX.
That's because it was designed from the ground up to withstand you.
It's true. It's a prison of my own making.
Your Australian hot takes.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through a few kind of subcategories here. Oh, there's one category that we added afterwards that I forgot about. I'll have to come up with one for that on the fly. But we're gonna go through these categories just sort of because we're kind of coming into it. Some people have announced that they're gonna do something in June, like Xbox Bethesda Showcase is happening June 12th, same as Xbox's time around that time all the time. Yep. What was June 9th? The Summer Game Fest. It's not called Kickoff Live this time, but it's just Summer Game Fest presentation.
Yeah. Keeley's commercials.
Yeah, the mid-year Keeleys. But yeah, we also don't know what we don't know.
It's pretty safe to assume that Sony is going to be there about 3 weeks later or 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, I was remembering today accurately for the first time what they did last year, which was like 2 weeks before E3, they did that Horizon Forbidden West gameplay demo.
Showcase.
Yeah, that Horizon State of Play, and which was interesting. It was an interesting time to do that. And then we basically didn't hear much from them until their showcase in September, when they showed off Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine and more things that were also exciting. We got a Ragnarok trailer, all that stuff. Yeah, that was such a fun showcase. But yeah, it took me ages to remember that was like months later. So it's hard to say what we'll get. Maybe we'll get like a God of War, coming in November State of Play.
Yeah. And
then we'll get a proper showcase later on. Or maybe it'll be it'll be competing with them. I don't know.
So Sony's on my list of things, but I'll bring that up when we get there. We should go into the questions.
Let's get into the list. Then we've done some preamble. So the first topic on our list is, what are we most excited to see? I've got a couple of spare ones here, Jeremy. Yeah. So I'll go first. I'm excited to actually see something tangible for Starfield.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not excited about Starfield.
No, neither am I.
Because we haven't seen Starfield yet. I'm excited to see Starfield.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago.
We did. We got into it a little bit.
And I kind of like it's that simple. I want to see what their newest game is. I want to see what a new IP from them is.
Yeah. Like
we haven't seen it.
See what they look like in bloody, next gen. I don't know. I want to know what it is. I know what
totally.
We know what it is. I want to see it.
Totally. What do you got?
I'm excited to see how many vampire games get announced this year. There was plenty last year, and if there's one thing that games like to do, it's follow a trend, Kerry. They like to follow each other. You know what's a game, Kerry? Lemmings. You know what lemmings do? They follow each other. Video games, they are lemmings. We will see some fucking vampire games. Let me tell you. Believe you me, we will see some vampire games.
Just sure as shit as a lemming off a bridge, off a cliff, we will see some vampire games.
As a bear shits in the woods, we will see some vampire games. We saw like 4 last year, and like 2 of them were like Vampire Masquerade games. There's the new one from Arcane.
Yeah,
Arcane
Redfall.
Are doing one. Yeah, Redfall. And there was another one at some point. Just like
I feel like a bunch of those Masquerade games came out too. Like
some of them have.
I think kind of funny. Last week we're playing Bloodfall or Bloodlines, or whatever it's called.
The Battle Royale one. Yeah, that's right. It's not Bloodlines.
No, that's the main one.
Yeah. And we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we'll see something. Just like how a couple years ago there was like a bunch of Terminator fucking crossovers.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see some more vampires.
You know, Terminator, was it Salvation? What was the game they came out with like 2 years ago?
I think it was Salvation.
Well, no, that was the 2009 movie with
Bale. Yeah, but it's the same.
It was called Terminator Resistance.
Right. It's set in the Salvation era.
Right. So it came out in 2019, November 2019. You know, I've got a PS5 update version and like a brand new retail box. And
yep.
Can you believe they did that?
I don't know anyone that bought that game.
Neither do I. It was apparently bad.
Yep.
Not bad enough to not give it a PS5 native version, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something I'm excited to see, and I feel like this is pretty. This is like a 90% sure this is going to happen. I really want to see some Breath of the Wild gameplay footage. I want to see if they do like a treehouse thing. I want to see it.
I don't know.
It's tricky because it's not coming out this year anymore.
We got that delay. I think we're not going to see it until the end of the year.
Because they like the last time they showed Breath of the Wild. Granted, it was also in time with the Switch, but like we didn't have many months after seeing it properly re-revealed before it came out.
Look, I can actually see them do either. On it, like they're not afraid to show stuff fairly early now. I think at this point, you know, we saw Pokemon gameplay like 4 months ago. I could see it because it's a tangible game. But I feel like
I'm also misremembering that like they were at E3 that year and all of their booths were Breath of the Wild on Wii U. What we didn't see was Switch. We didn't know Switch was coming.
Right,
that's what I was misremembering. Sorry, go
on. I think we'll see maybe from Nintendo. We might see a little bit of Breath of the Wild 2, as well as the Zelda collection thing to hold over Nintendo fans until hold over Zelda fans until Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. Now's the, you know, like now would be the perfect time to bring it out. Bring it out in September. Release Zelda in March.
Yeah, that does make sense. I'm not going to hold my breath for that rumored remaster collection until it happens, though. Like that,
neither
that may
am
as well
I.
not exist.
Neither am I. Aside from it was the same rumor as the Mario 3D collection. Remember that when everybody reported on that all at once?
You're right.
Remember that? And it's the same thing. The difference is they're happy to hold on to things.
Yeah, it just hasn't come out yet. It's
yeah.
Just, I want to play those games again. What else are you excited to see, Jeremy?
The Xbox Game Pass stick.
Oh, the puck or the stick or the brain.
Yeah, the streaming HDMI stick you shove in a TV comes with an Xbox controller. Cloud stream Xbox Game Pass games to your TV.
Maybe they call it the Xbox Game Pass ticket.
Ticket's not bad.
It's not bad.
Maybe they call it the Xbox Game Mikey. Ticket's actually not bad.
Opal card.
Yeah, I don't mind the ticket, to be completely honest. I don't know what else. What else do you call it? Maybe they might just honestly just call it Xbox TV, right? Like they might just Although that might make the cardinal sin of mentioning Xbox and TV in the same sentence, which gives them flashbacks of 2013.
True. They're not going to call it a cast something. They could call it a
Xbox Gamecast.
Xbox Gamecast. Yeah, it's not bad, except it's not a streaming.
No, it's a streaming thing.
Oh wait, no, it's only a streaming thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, Xbox Gamecast is not bad. It does two things.
It's a waste because they could have a really good podcast with that name.
That's true. It's true. It does two things for me. One, it sounds too much like Xbox Game Pass, which then in turn links to, I suppose this is just one thing, but this in turn links in with their everything sounding like itself marketing strategy they have of the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, the Xbox One S.
They'll bring out two models of this Gamecast. They'll do the Xbox Gamecast X and the Xbox Gamecast S.
Oh no!
Or is it the Game Pass Cast?
Game Pass cast.
Game Pass cast.
Yeah.
Dear oh
So
dear.
the Xbox Game Cast to the Xbox Game Pass ticket. I like that.
We'll just call it Spencer's stick.
That sounds like something Randy Pitchford would do and then leave behind at a medieval times. If it was a gearbox stick.
Yeah.
And then the final thing I have that says, what are we most excited to see? This should really be in one of our other categories, but I'm going to say it now because the other one's getting too full. Aragon Remaster when?
All right. Next question is, who is going to have the worst conference?
Well, I know who I thought the worst conference was last year.
So do I, and it was Gearbox.
It sure the hell was Gearbox.
And you know what? They got a movie coming out this year, so they're going to have another one.
Yep. That movie that we saw a lot behind the scenes of, like too much behind the scenes of last year, like an uncomfortable amount of behind the scenes of last year.
So much sweaty Randy.
Yeah, and like interrupting Kevin Hart in his trailer for an unscripted, unscheduled like media interview.
Well, wait, hang on a minute. They've been bought now
By Coke
Embracer.
Media. Were they not
Wait,
already
hang on.
bought before that?
I don't think they were.
Embracer Group.
Was it
buys
Embracer or was it
Gearbox.
Coke?
It's
Or
Embracer Group.
Okay, it was Embracer.
They're also interlinked. This was before.
It was before?
Gearbox was embraced in February 2021.
Right.
I don't know if this is going to take
It might.
a certain amount
It
of
might have been that
time.
was when the agreement was signed, but they hadn't finalized things yet.
Yeah, like these things tend to take a bunch of
Yeah,
time. I'm
they
not
do take
seeing
time.
any clarifications like that in the article I'm looking at here, though. So
Right,
yeah, as
okay.
far as I could tell, they had their own conference, which is good because Embracer Group and Coke Media, which I think are the same thing, or like
I
one of
think
them owns the other.
I think they're separate.
I think one of them owns the other. Maybe I'm wrong. But the Coke Media showcase, at least I heard, was worse. From kind of funny said it was worse than the Gearbox one. I think they said because it was longer and had nothing.
It was worse. That was when I started watching, and then like I actually stopped watching that one. It was like everybody's cameras was fucked. No one had any idea what was going on. People
interviews
weren't
going for like 10 minutes.
It was terrible. It was so bad. Yeah, it was real bad.
But yeah, Gearbox is my first call for what I think the worst conference is.
Embracer Group does own Coke Media. You were correct, Kerry.
Cool. I thought so.
I also have Gearbox on my list.
Yep.
But I also have another games company on my list, which
Is it Square Enix?
It is Square Enix for two reasons.
Uh-huh.
One, half of their stuff I'm interested in has gone over to Embracer Group.
Well, not yet. Remember, the sale hasn't gone through.
Yeah,
Now,
I know,
that one
but
is happening later.
they're not going to show off fucking
That's the thing.
the next Tomb Raider game out there.
We look
they're
forward to
selling.
this game that we are not going to receive any benefits from anymore.
Exactly right. The other thing is, which leads me to my next question. My next question being, will we see any crypto shit NFT fuck at E3 this year?
NFTF.
I think we will, and I think it will be from Square Enix.
Yeah, I think honestly you're right. I don't see it coming from any other people. We're not going to see it from Devolver. They're not going to stand for that. We might see something from Ubisoft.
I also have that on my list as a possibility.
Like the extension of their Quartz thing. Even although I don't know,
It's
they
not
paired it
doing
with
well.
Breakpoint and then cancelled that integration. But
Well,
that's kind of like
they cancelled live ops for Breakpoint. Breakpoint's done now.
yeah, that's the thing. That was the problem. They paired their launch of Quartz with a failing game that didn't do that well.
Yes.
Um,
Well, failing technology and failing games go together. I feel like
yeah.
like we will see. Okay, you should answer this question, and then I'll go into my stuff about Ubisoft. Unless this is your answer as well.
No, it's basically my answer, and this is the one I didn't really. I forgot to put stuff down for. But yeah, I thought if we are going to see anything, like basically if Square Enix has a conference, it's not going to be any of the stuff that they just sold off. So nothing from Crystal, Eidos, or Square Enix Montreal
or Marvel
or any of the IP they've worked on before.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no Deus Ex, no Tomb Raider, no Avengers, no Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. Like, Guardians was the best part of their conference last year for me, not to anyone else, but I liked it.
No Kane
and
Lynch.
so then what are they going to do? Like, oh, we're going to pixel remaster these things, and we're going to make it even worse, and the hardcore fans are going to be even more upset about these ones. Like,
yeah, like they're moving into a purely Japanese development at this point.
Yeah.
Which is like, look, it's fine. Like, I don't think they know how to like manage their Western studios they had anyway.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, it was the thing they wanted to get at for a long time, and I don't think that anybody that is working at these studios is going to be upset that they're going to still be able to work on their IPs and not have to report to Square Enix's ridiculous expectations.
Totally. And I mean, like, one thing we know about Embracer Group, they've got money.
They got money.
They got money.
They got Dosh.
And they want a good Tomb Raider game, right?
Of course. They would. I'm sure they're looking at Deus Ex. I'm sure they're looking at the Marvel deals and going like, what can we do? Now, we don't know if they're transferable yet. We don't know what's happening. I think someone has confirmed that the Marvel deals are transferring. I think they still have to go through a Disney thumbs up. Otherwise, they get canned. Is my impression? Is that that they need a Disney approval, and if they don't get a Disney approval, then those projects are dead. Which is a shame, especially for anybody that's still playing Avengers. You know, both of you out there, I'm sure you're going to be really upset when the game gets brought down. They're not happy with that game as far as I can tell either, though. So I don't think it's really going to matter. I don't know, like Crystal. Look, for my money, they're better off doing something else anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Did Square keep Just Cause?
I think so, and like Avalanche. Oh, yeah. I think they did.
Right, okay.
Which is weird. There's a few things there, and like they're still going to publish, what was it, like Life is Strange and stuff like that in the future.
Right, okay. That's fair enough.
But I think that that's a publishing deal with a Western developer, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So like it's a different...
Yeah, they don't own Avalanche, I don't think.
And they don't own Don't Nod or Techland.
Yeah.
Well, not Techland. Techland's not right. Deck 9, sorry.
Deck 9, yes.
Deck 9, Techland, you know what I mean. So yeah, Square is in a really weird spot. Like, there's a sort of a sentiment of like Square doesn't know what they're doing that's been going around with like people saying it. Like I've seen it in like media discords and like people saying like, oh yeah, Square doesn't know what they're doing or they're a shadow of their former self. And I haven't really got it yet. But this decision that we spoke about last week as it was happening, and we've had a sort of week to stew on, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, like, it is. It's very bizarre.
It was so cheap to sell all of those things on. Like looking at, apparently an analyst is saying that the two Marvel titles that Square Enix launched, so Guardians and
Avengers,
the event Marvel's Avengers. Sorry, cost just a total mental blank. Cost Square Enix $200 million, and they sold so much more than the two studios and those games. They sold so much more than that for 1.5 times that amount.
And it's like you got to think about it like, you know, they were looking for a live service game. They were looking for a game that was going to go on for, let's say, 4 years.
Like Babylon's Fall.
Yeah, right. DLC, battle passes, in-app purchases.
Yep.
And then it's like, you know, they've got cosmetics, they've got movie tie-ins, they've got comic tie-ins, they've got TV show tie-ins. They have the literal biggest, well, I'm not sure if it's the biggest media property though, but the most popular media property happening at the moment that has been going on for a very long time. Marvel Avengers.
Right, okay, sorry, yes,
like,
you're right.
Like as a thing, right? As like a pop culture phenomenon.
Yep.
Disney were looking at this going, we can drive movie sales, we can drive movies to you, and that's what they deliver. It's negative. It had negative press.
Yeah.
And all anyone talks about this game now is how much it cost Square Enix to make this game.
It's kind of a joke now. It's kind of a butt of a joke.
It is just like a failure of a product. As well as, I don't think it was a very good game.
That's the thing. Like, it could have been something different and something better.
And so it's like that deal is just like them cutting their losses. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust them, especially since in that deal where they cut their losses, they specifically mentioned blockchain. So yeah, if they do have a conference, which I hope they don't, if they do, I think we're going to see a bad side of them. I don't think it's going to be fun.
We are. We're going to see what they've actually been like for a lot longer than I think we realize.
Because we're not going to see Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. We're not going to see Kingdom Hearts 4. We just saw it.
We might see Final Fantasy VII Remake 2.
I'd be very surprised. I'd be exceptionally surprised.
We'll see Final Fantasy 16 at the very least.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I forgot that was close.
Yeah,
good chance. Good chance of that. And we're not due for an MMO update, are we?
I don't know. I don't think they do those yearly.
Yeah.
They'll play a commercial for it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Sure.
And we might see like another Yoko Taro thing.
Can't wait for a Tifa Lockhart NFT.
NFTifa. I'm gonna answer the next question first because it goes into my previous answer about the crypto shit. Surefire prediction to feel smug.
Yeah. So something that we don't know is we know it's gonna happen.
Like we're gonna see it. My answer is the next Assassin's Creed game, the live service one. The platform that they're launching, whatever it's called.
Assassin's Creed codenamed Infinity or Infinite or something, which it won't be called because Halo's called that.
Yeah. Just call it Animus, right? Like, just call it Animus.
Assassin's Creed Animus.
No, just call it Animus.
Oh.
Actually, no, you need the Assassin's Creed thing in it.
Yeah, you need the brand you've been building for the last 15 years.
Ubisoft Quartz integrated in Assassin's Creed, the platform.
Yeah.
I can see it happening.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be the first time we'll get an NFT actually appearing in another game because both companies have a pretty good idea at putting each other's shit in each other's franchises.
Oh, Square and Ubisoft.
Yeah, we can get a fucking NFT Chocobo.
No.
That you can ride in Egypt.
What about
I can see Quartz showing up in this Assassin's Creed thing.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. I can also see it because what was it? They announced like the Division Heartland, which was that free-to-play thing. If they talk more about that, I could see them talking about Quartz for their free-to-play Division game.
Yeah. Look, I think we will see the Assassin's Creed platform though. Whether or not it's got Quartz in it, I'm not too sure. But I can see them finally showing off whatever that project is.
Yep. It's been 2 years since Valhalla came out.
Yeah, and like they announced it last year, right? The timing is right, I think.
I don't know if it was officially announced.
Yeah,
it was.
I think we got like a
press
release logo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would. It's
Assassin's
hard to
Creed
say.
Infinity is what it's currently called.
Yeah. It's hard to say whether companies will do that because these companies do want to go in for it, but it's also still toxic. It's absolutely like nuclear to go near publicly right now.
Yes.
It's sort of like in 2017, no one mentioned like microtransactions in a single player game outright for a long time. Or they specifically said it wasn't and then patched them in later.
Yeah.
So like, I really don't know how far developers will go in on that, or publishers specifically, I guess. Speaking of Ubisoft, surefire prediction to feel smug about number one for me, Rabbids sequel is coming out within 3 months of E3. That's what I feel. That's what my gut tells me.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I wrote it down and I felt immediately unsure about that because they announced it last year at E3 and we heard nothing since. And they just said 2022. But I feel like...
I would be confident that it would come out then.
That's what I think too. And like when they did it originally, like this was the first year the Switch came out, but when they announced it originally, it came out like within 2 or 3 months of it being announced at E3. It was out that August, I want to say.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a precedent there for them to have, just been shedding on it quietly in the background and just have it ready and it come out. Yeah, I feel confident in that.
I feel confident that so this is a broader E3 conversation. It's not going to happen the week of all these announcements. It'll happen on the outskirts, probably after, I'm going to assume. Whenever PlayStation do their showcase, their state of play, whatever it is.
Yep.
PSVR 2 release date will be announced. I don't know when I don't know if it's going to be this side of the new year or not.
So regardless of what the date is, they will announce the date.
I think so.
And price?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
They didn't do that for.
I don't think they have to. I don't think they don't have to do the price. The VR helmets are not a console. It's not everybody excited for the new thing all the time. It's like you'll buy it if you're interested in it, sort of thing. And it'll go cheaper when you are.
They didn't do that for the PS5 for a while either. I think. I can't remember if they revealed the hardware and then showed the price off like that 3 months later, the day they opened pre-orders.
I don't know. I know the PS4 they announced the price on stage at E3, but the PS5 I do not remember.
Yep. Okay.
The PSVR 2 developers have tried it. It was at GDC. It was one of the big things at GDC.
Wow.
It's apparently pretty cool. It's apparently pretty exciting as a thing.
We got the tech specs, and they've added haptics to the helmet itself, right, and the controllers. From what they said in
helmet
the press
haptics.
Release,
that was one of the things, and it's got eye tracking as well.
Yeah, and way better resolution screen, runs on the PS5. There's a lot going for this particular headset. It's fascinating how poorly the PSVR Gen 1, the PSVR 1 has aged. You know what I mean? I feel like it's aged way faster than a lot of the other VR headsets.
Yes, it was for two reasons. One, because it was quite budget.
Yes.
And a PS4, I don't think initially was made with VR in mind.
Yes.
As well as all the cables.
Yes.
So many cables.
Yeah. It was.
This is obviously
a great way to get into it, but yeah, I guess that's what you get when you buy a headset that's way cheaper than the competition.
And you needed the camera, right? There were there were a lot of things happening at that point. It was outside in tracking. It was using the PlayStation Move controllers. Kerry, can you fix your focus, please?
Oh, I blurred. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it was it was that, and it was you needed the camera, and then it was the breakout box, and it was kind of loud. It was comfortable, but that was also the era of base stations, right? Base stations, by and large, have disappeared in the broader consumer area. They still exist for some headsets, but we're sort of moving past that.
This is before Quest.
And when they announced the PS5, they said, we've got VR in mind. And then when they announced the PSVR 2, they were like, it's a single cable. Shame it's not wireless, but single cable, it's the next best thing.
Yeah, and there's a plug on the front of the system for it.
Yeah. USB-C, high-powered plug.
Sorry, you go. I'll follow up.
Just from what I've heard, also the eye tracking makes a really big difference for foveated rendering, where you can sort of have a lower resolution on the outskirts of where you're looking and a high resolution on the inside of where you're looking. Apparently, that is making a very big difference in this headset. It's not the first headset to do it, but it is definitely a welcome addition.
That's so cool. And something you get in comparison to a headset made for PC, or a headset made with all of the processing power happening internally. Something you get with a dedicated PlayStation VR headset for a dedicated PlayStation console is you get that hardware interaction and that sort of working directly with the hardware sort of magic that you see with a Naughty Dog game or something like that. Like if they've got tech that's interesting, they can make the best use out of it with that system.
They only have to hit one benchmark. There's not a whole lot of like. There's one spec they have to hit. Yeah, like, and I'm sure like, and anything else above that is just going to help them, right? They're not hitting the PS4 spec. They're not hitting the low end PC VR spec. They're not hitting the Quest. They're just going for baseline PS5, which is a RTX card.
Yep, it's pretty cool. So you think that's surefire?
Release date, I'm a little bit shaky on, but we will see it. I think we 100% will see it. Like, I think it makes sense to see it this now and then release it in end of November or December.
Cool. Okay, I like that. I like it a lot. On the Sony train, God of War trailer and release date. We will see it. Similarly to what you were saying, whenever their thing is, whether it's, like we were saying before, a God of War State of Play dedicated to the game, or whether it's like a PlayStation showcase later on in the year or earlier in the year, something like that, we see it. Next time we see God of War, we're getting a trailer, we're getting a release date.
That is also no question.
Surefire. I'm going to feel smug about that one, as per the homework.
Do you have any other surefires?
I do. I have a couple here. One of them's a joke, but I have a couple more as well. Hellblade release date. Next time we see it, and I think it'll be this E3.
It's been long enough.
Hellblade release date. It's been a long time. Long time since they were acquired by Xbox.
Long time since I've seen that game. We saw that game when they announced the Series X.
Yeah. We saw a trailer last year at the Game Awards. You remember they took on that gigantic oil baby?
Yeah.
As the Norse do. But yeah, excited to get to that one. Like, we did one of our very first podcasts was a game club for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So Hellblade: Senua's Saga, with all their new ray tracing tech on the Series X and on PC, and being Team Ninja, right?
Yeah.
Or Ninja Theory.
Ninja
Theory. Team Ninja is Neo and
I never remember which one's what.
What did Team Ninja do recently? Of something big that wasn't Neo. Oh crap!
I do not remember.
Okay. But
Ninja Gaiden, Stranger of Paradise,
Stranger of Paradise. Yes, really recently.
Chaos. My way.
So that's Team Ninja, and then Ninja Theory, who did like DMC and Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, I think. They're doing Hellblade.
Right.
It's been so long since then, though. So yeah, I really want to see that. Really can't wait to be freaked out by that game. I also have Resident Evil 4 Remake. We've been hearing so much about it, and it's been a while since Resident Evil 3 Remake.
I think we see it this year. I don't think we see it at E3. I'm not sure if Capcom...
Don't think so?
I don't think
they like their pops, Like, you remember when Resident Evil 2 Remake got announced? It was just in the middle of a PlayStation conference, and it was like, whoa, here it's coming, and it's Leon in Raccoon City, and it's coming in January. Back when Capcom was releasing bangers in an empty January every other year, Monster Hunter World and Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I feel like we do see it this year, but I feel like it might slip. I don't feel like they would want to release it in a different year to when they announce it. I think they are going to. I think if they announce it in June, it would be coming this year, and I don't think it is coming this year. I think they will announce it in a September, and then release it in a June maybe next year.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe earlier than that. They do like the early of the year release frames sometimes, so maybe
if they
then
can pull it off, they do like it. Yeah,
I don't think we see it at E3.
I will say this is my least surefire, but it's the kind of thing similar to like the Zelda remasters you've been talking about, right? Like we've heard about it. It exists. It's coming.
It exists. It definitely exists.
The only question is when.
When are we getting RE-verse?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Are we ever getting that? Because that was supposed to launch with the RE2... No.
Was that
RE8.
RE8, right?
RE8, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It was supposed to launch with RE8. And
the multiplayer suite for 8, yeah.
We've heard nothing about it.
That's true.
Maybe we get that.
That's true, we haven't. You remember when Capcom had some presentation not long after 8 came out, and they're like, oh, we're going to see a trailer for DLC, and all it was like a black screen with like words on it. It was like, we are now in active development on DLC for Resident Evil 8. Thank you for buying and enjoying the game so far. We hope we will tell you more in the future. Like, it was that was all.
We're not going to see RE4 remake. We're going to see the RE8 DLC before we see RE4.
Yeah, I suppose that was like a year ago.
I know they're different. I mean, maybe we get a logo of RE4, but like, that's if that. They don't seem to like to do that. They like to show gameplay. I reckon we'll see the RE8 DLC at E3.
Okay. Yeah, it's a toss up. I'll admit it's my least surefire.
Yeah. And what's your joke one, Kerry?
EA isn't going to be there.
Yeah, okay, that is completely sure. EA.
That is very surefire. They have said so themselves.
Yeah. The only thing they've got coming this year basically is that Star Wars game, and we're going to see that at Celebration in a week anyway.
Is that in a week?
I think so. It's really soon. They've got all the panels announced, and it's happening before Kenobi. So,
okay, sick.
Yeah,
that's fun. When's Kenobi actually? Because now Moon Knight's finished. I'm going to look that up while you tell us about your first Hail Mary, your first shot in the dark.
Speaking of Capcom, let me tell you about a little game.
Did you hear that? That was his knuckles cracking. He cracked his knuckles. Sorry, go on.
Speaking of Capcom, let me tell you about a little game that was announced in 2013. Little game called Deep Down, working title.
Oh my fucking god!
Now I am a deep down truther. I am a deep down conspirator.
Deep Down was the high fantasy
live service dungeon game.
Developed and published by Capcom, announced exclusively for PlayStation 4 in 2013.
Yes, we saw 2 trailers for it. We saw the initial trailer, and then we saw a gameplay trailer, I think about a year later. And then every year, nothing.
I've never seen this before. Can I just say, Wikipedia's part of its first blurb is a sentence that says this: it is currently vaporware, although not officially cancelled. I've never seen that before.
Yes. Oh, if I got some pages you can look at, which has got that on it as well. Let me tell you about a game called Wild. Let me tell you about a game called Beyond Good and Evil 2, baby.
Oh, goodness me.
Let me tell you about almost anything Michelle Ancel has ever worked on in the past fucking decade. Deep Down is a Hail Mary.
I say this every year.
I say it every year, and every year it doesn't exist, and yet I will keep saying it until I will it into existence. I want that weird chat app with Blanca. I want that weird dragon fucking thing. I want
Blanca from Street Fighter?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know what Deep Down is, but I want it. It's my Hail Mary. It's one of my Hail Marys.
People also ask, was Deep Down cancelled? Will Deep Down ever release?
No.
That's all that people also ask about it.
It's like people that still want Agent to come out.
Agent?
The Rockstar game.
Is that a Rockstar game?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a spy game that they were working on that did get officially cancelled, and they actually let the trademark lapse on that one.
Yeah, right.
And they
teased in 2007, formally announced 2009, never came out.
It was on their website, I think, for about 10 years.
That's funny.
Which, of course, is not a we're still working on it. It's a no one bothered to update the website.
Yep, totally.
I know what that's like.
The person who's updating the website isn't in charge of whether this should or shouldn't be shown on the website.
And he's not going to say, hey, should I do this work?
My first Hail Mary. This would be amazing. I think I would be incredibly shocked if it happened. I would really like if it happened. I would love to see more Avowed. The high fantasy role-playing game from Obsidian, creators of Outer Worlds and Fallout New Vegas and other things. Pillars of Eternity, I think, was them.
Yep.
Or Path of Exile, one of them. PoE.
From my understanding of just like hearing what Jeff Grubb says, we're not going to see it.
I agree. I think it's very, very far away. But what if we saw it?
That'd be cool. I'm excited. I want to know what that is. I do want to know what that is.
Yeah, I want to see Obsidian off the chain. I want to see them fully funded and let loose.
Yeah, me too.
You got another one, Mary?
I do. I have Fumeto Ueda's next project.
Whoa.
And now
creator of Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian.
And let me say, I don't think this is completely out of the question.
No, it's
been a while.
6 years since The Last Guardian.
And look, he said in an interview that he wanted to take a break after Last Guardian. God
it did take him 10 years to make.
It took him 10 years in leaving the project.
That's right. They had to bring him back. I forgot that.
Yeah, because he left the project, started his own studio, and the first gig they got was getting hired by Sony to finish it. Which is like just incredible.
What the fuck's that about?
I don't know what he wants to make next. I don't know if he wants to still make things in that same universe. I kind of hope he doesn't. I want to see him try something new.
New Katamari game.
Ooh.
From Fumito Ueda.
Yeah, like
No
do
fun.
something to try. Like he mentioned, there was an expression of interest that he had where he was thinking about making a first-person shooter. I don't know what that would look like, but I would like to know.
Yeah, modern day. It's funny because the
Fuck
games
if I know.
that like define what we think about him they are all in that same disconnected, disjointed universe, but it's that fantasy universe of crumbling stone archers and swords and gods.
Yeah, demons and yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. No telling what it could be.
Absolutely no idea. And you know what? I'll probably love it.
Yep.
I'll probably love it.
Yeah, totally. Here's my second Hail Mary. Star Wars Eclipse is now being developed by Supermassive Games, developers of Until Dawn.
Why them?
Because they make good single-player story games. With branching pathways and narrative decisions.
They made a good single-player story game.
People didn't mind House of Ashes, but yes, I know what you mean. But I trust them far more than I trust Quantic Dream and David Cage.
Can I do you one better?
You do? Yeah, sure, man.
Star Wars Eclipse is no longer being developed by Quantic Dream. It's now being developed by what's the name of the studio? Is it what I think it is?
I had to look mine up when I was writing mine.
Supergiant.
Supergiants? Wait, what? Is that because I said Supermassive and you thought of Supergiant?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Supergiant is the developer who made Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, and Hades, for those who are unaware. None of them 3D games. None of them Star Wars games.
But what if they went from a homophobic-led studio to a really gay studio?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That would... I don't want that. Because that would be antithetical to who Supergiant is.
It's true.
But also I want that. I want to see Supergiant make so many things that I like.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars.
Yes.
Do you have another one or are you out?
I just thought of one more.
Oh, great. Give it to me.
PlayStation resurrects the Vita. To compete with the Switch.
On. Tell me more. To compete with the Switch. They decide 5.5 years into the Switch's life cycle that it's time to get in the game. After the Switch has sold 80 million units and there's a silicon and semiconductor shortage.
No. I have a better one. That
was funny though.
Yeah, it was funny. The PlayStation have announced their legacy team.
Yes.
They announce Hail Mary, disc-based backwards compatibility for PS3, PS2, PS1.
PS. I was going to say PS4, but they've already got that. Whoa!
They'll never do it. They won't make any money that way.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I don't think they have any incentive to do that. But also that fully made me like Pog, you know? I was like, whoa! You know what I mean? I don't say that. I'm not in Twitch chat, but I just saw my face and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That would be, I would love that. And you're right. I think it's like,
it's a Hail Mary. It's never going to happen.
Exactly. It's an impossibility at this point. It's just a little slimy. It's still good. It's still good.
Yeah.
Speaking of PlayStation, my final Hail Mary. What if they showed Spider-Man 2? This isn't out of the realm of possibility because they said 2023, right?
Yeah.
Middle 2022. If they're going to show anything, honestly, that's their most exciting project that's coming up that isn't coming out this year. You know what I mean? But it's still a little early. We only heard about it for the first time 9 months ago. It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when you think about it, the original Spider-Man came out in 2018, and then Miles came out 2 years later in 2020. So what that means is it's been nearly 4 years since the original Spider-Man game came out. That's a lot of time. But with Miles coming out so soon after, and it being different, but very similar.
Yeah.
And the remaster of the original Spider-Man game coming out on PS5 at the same time, prompting a lot of people to replay it. I think it needs a bit more time on ice. But I also think it's Spider-Man. And if it's in any viewable state, I think they'll show it. Because it's not Miles Morales, where it was a lovely surprise for the launch of a console. Like, that was huge. It was like, oh my God, we're getting another Spider-Man game. That's fantastic. This isn't that. This is, here's a reason to buy a PS5 today for something you might be excited for tomorrow.
So I think that's almost a little bit too nuclear.
Nuclear?
In terms
Please,
of
go on.
In terms of like, they still don't need to convince anyone to buy a PS5.
True. That's true. Why would they need to drive up demand?
Yeah. Obviously they of course want more demand. It helps them, but
and like the more stories, like it probably helps them to have more stories of still hard to get PS5s. If you're looking for a PS5, go get this deal now. That probably helps them.
Sure.
In this shitty situation where no one can get one anyway.
Yeah. I think if the PS5 wasn't selling for like something, different world, obviously, they would hit that nuclear button and say like, it's the big red Spider-Man button.
I see what you mean. This is like
they don't
need a
need
boost.
to. Yeah,
this is the Nitros.
They showed it, whatever it was last time, the same time as Wolverine, which was like ridiculous.
Mind-blowing.
They did that.
Yep.
I think they can save that for a September, October again.
Yeah, I honestly think they could save it for hey, you're getting this in 4 months. Here's your first proper look at this game since we announced it.
They're not going to do that.
They did it with Miles, but again, that was part of a console launch, so that's hard to say.
Yeah, and this is like Sony are trying to churn out as many fucking dogshit Spider-Man movie spin-offs as they can. Like unless they really want to do like a Dr. Michael Morbius tie-in with Jared Leto. That Spider-Man's only very, very briefly on ice. We're not going to see the next Spider-Man movie until 2024.
Oh well, he's not on ice, is he? He's in the regeneration chamber. He's in the Bacta tank. He's being regenerated and reborn as we speak.
Spider-Man's having his refractory period. Yeah, but like it's a in between thwips. John Watts did the first 3 movies, right? John Watts, and they're going to do some more movies. John Watts is not going to do the next one. He's not doing Fantastic Four. From what I've read, from what I've heard, they are taking their time finding a new director. In the meantime, they've got fucking Scarlet Spider and Kraven the Hunter and all these other movies that no one wants. Venom 3, people apparently want that.
It's important to remember, though, that the original
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man game was being built at the same time as they were starting to make these decisions based around Venom, right? Like, my point being that Venom came out around a similar time that Spider-Man came out, and it was miles better. So, like, I have somewhat a bit of faith that there's a bit of quality control in this product here.
Yeah, but I think they also know that the reason they changed the look of Peter Parker is because some suit at Sony was like, how come that Spider-Man doesn't look like our Spider-Man? He doesn't look like the Spider-Man that we paid a fucking $1 billion for. Make him look like our Spider-Man, sort of thing, right?
True. I did hear, I mean, you know, maybe Insomniac was just saying this because they definitely needed to address it when they changed the face of Peter Parker. But maybe that was because, like, I remember them saying something like they needed to update how that person's face worked, and they didn't really... Going forward, it wasn't going to work with them as well to use the old one. Like, it does sound a bit like they're making shit up now that I've said it out loud. But like,
yeah, that's nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, what I've got written is I think it's a little early to show Spider-Man 2, but also, what if they showed Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
I
have a final question for you.
Hit me.
Who's getting bought?
What, at E3? Oh.
We're going to see another acquisition. We're going to see one.
It's hard because there's not many people left. The people are dropping like flies.
Right.
What if a week after... I don't think this would happen.
I don't like your energy level right
now.
No.
This is bad. This is like
really
this is like time to leave this timeline. Time to build a time machine and fuck off timeline.
Xbox.
What if
Nintendo.
a week after an excellent Devolver showcase, they're bought by hang on, who's
Square Enix.
They're bought by Square Enix. I was going to say Embracer Group, but Embracer Group, they haven't messed anyone up for buying them yet.
No.
So far as we could tell. But, yes, they're bought by EA. Like...
Or, no, bought by, like, Amazon.
Yes! Devolver's bought by Amazon.
Yeah.
To, like, polish up their image, but also to, like, corporatify their image.
Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, look, we can laugh at ourselves, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Devolver's not going to get bought. I
know.
I can see.
It's hard, right?
There's
so many chips being taken off the table. Like Bungie is not there anymore.
I know, right? I haven't even thought about, are we going to start seeing them in PlayStation things yet? But their deal hasn't gone through because the FTC is looking at it.
That's true. And plus the time that it was going to take is still going.
Sure. Fucking Microsoft really skipped all that, huh? They really... I mean, like, look, they're still like, they've got their FTC stuff going on as well, and they're...
Yeah, that one also still hasn't gone through.
Yeah, I know, but they got Bethesda fucking scot-free. Like, that was done. True. Like, that ink was dry, like, so fucking fast.
Well, no, they had their period, but they didn't have the FTC nonsense, I don't think. It wasn't as big a deal in news headlines and stuff like that. But also, they weren't buying such a beleaguered company that had just spent the last year on headlines of all major news websites
it's
because
true.
of how terrible they've been.
It's true. So, Warren Buffett's putting money on the deal goes through, so I don't know. He's literally betting on it. He's betting
on it with the stocks, yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
It is weird.
Who else? What's Lorne Lanning's studio?
What
creator
the
of Oddworld.
Who cares?
Wow, rude.
Who fucking why?
Rude. I just want to know. Like, I don't know. That's an independent studio. If director. Oddworld Soulstorm,
who
published
bought WB?
by Oddworld Inhabitants. That's the studio name.
Who bought WB? Or are they just being shopped around?
They're being shopped around. They haven't been bought yet.
Okay, it'll be them.
Yeah, that makes sense considering that we've heard things about like they're shopping around.
It's either it's them. They get bought by PlayStation. I don't think Xbox want to buy anything at the moment because they're still trying to get their previous deals put through. Either they get bought by PlayStation or PlayStation by Square. It's one of the two. Square, some people believe that the reason they fucking sold all that stuff was so that they can make themselves a little bit lighter on some of the bloat. They can maybe make themselves a bit more approachable by acquirers, collectors,
Grifters.
yeah. Maybe Sony buy them, or maybe someone just fucking picks up all the studios that just got. Embracer just got them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They went.
I
it's
forgot
not like
it wasn't
IO where they.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
They went straight to Embracer. It was like, I don't know. It was like kids going from one foster parent to another foster parent. Like a really weird handoff. Like, here you go. Here's our children. Like, what?
Yeah.
You got to wonder how long until purchases either slow down or they keep going until there's no one left.
They're going to get blocked before no one's left. Like it's currently not great press.
Like all the FTC checks and looking into and scrutiny.
The one thing the video game. The one thing big games companies hate more than anything else, it's when the government looks at them. I swear to God, it's the one thing.
That's a good point. Like, it goes all the way back to like Mortal Kombat, right? Like
Mortal Kombat with the
ratings
ESRB
deal.
It goes into the investigation into microtransactions that EA accidentally made everybody look at.
True.
Anytime the government looks at video games, they fucking hate it. Apple versus Epic, all of that stuff. What
was that time when GTA came out and like someone like it got brought before some group and they were like, "Oh, I saw my son try to kill a woman with a hammer" or something like that, and it was. I feel like that became quite official, or someone was trying to make it official.
There was stuff about PETA trying to stop animals being killed in video games.
I mean, to be fair, like 2022 challenge, stop making me kill dogs. Like video game developers, like that'd be great.
Sure, but there's all the people that think that no one should have pets.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have time to get into that.
No, we don't.
It's intense, but you're right. I think that's a good point. Like the developers and publishers, again, specifically, I keep saying developers, but I really mean the publishers.
The suits.
Having that scrutiny placed upon them, you're right, is no fun.
Yeah.
For them, for their bottom line.
Yeah.
The other question is, we are hearing about, and I think we're going on this a little long, but we're here. We are hearing about Ubisoft not necessarily looking to be bought out, but potentially looking for like a fund to maybe go in on them with, to like invest in them, which is interesting.
I think that would be epic.
Interesting. I don't know, because like the way I've heard it described is they're looking at being bought out by like investment funds. Like not.
I want to be very clear. I didn't think that was a cool thing. I wanted to talk about Epic, the games company. I didn't think that was an epic thing. I want to be very clear.
Ubisoft gets more money. Fucking sick, man. Yeah, no. I don't think they're gonna get. They're not looking to be bought. I think they'll go to that once this like private fund shopping doesn't go through. And yeah, Epic buying Ubisoft, I can see that making a lot of sense. That could fill out Epic's portfolio in terms of.
I don't even mean an acquisition. I just mean like a partnership.
True, like the way Sony has invested in Epic in turn. Yeah, no, that's an interesting.
Like they'll buy 10% of each other's companies, etc.
Yeah, well, the way Tencent was going forward. Now that I say their name, we haven't heard much about Tencent recently. There was a while where they were buying 20% of a company here, 100% of a company there. What do you think's going on with Tencent?
I don't know. My guess, without really looking at it, my first guess is that China has changed some of their laws around ownership of companies lately.
Yep.
As well as they definitely don't want the FTC looking at them.
Yep.
They were not really purchasing many studios that were in America. Or purchasing parts. Like, there was some...
I feel like they were doing more and more, but you're right. They are a Chinese company.
Yeah, I think that they are maybe just sort of watching the landscape a little bit or working something big out. It'll be one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am seeing an article here. I'm just doing some quick lookups. Oh, no, it's on Bloomberg. I can't read it.
Open incognito.
Incognito? Okay, hang on. Open link in incognito window.
That's how I read Jason Schreier.
It's opened me to a different page. I can't find the thing I was looking for. Drawn the scrutiny. Here we go. From the US government, incognito mode. No.
My SD card is full, Kerry. Quick.
Really?
That's fine. That's a backup. It's fine.
Okay. Never mind on that one. But this Polygon article talking about Tencent, the world's biggest game company, is saying that Tencent's investments have drawn the scrutiny of even the US government when talking about Epic's, their involvement with Epic. Their investment in Epic's side there. Yeah, what do they got? They got a 40% stake in Epic Games. They own 100% of Riot Games, Turtle Rock Studios, Bloober Team.
Yeah.
5% hold in Ubisoft. Interesting. 5% in Activision Blizzard.
MiniClip
majority hold.
Oh, no kidding. MiniClip. Huh.
MiniClip.
It's interesting they own Ubisoft, considering that crypto is 100% banned in China.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an article from a few months ago, but yeah. And it's only 5%. It was like shares. It was like stock.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, who knows who's going to get bought next? Probably WB. Probably something going on with Ubisoft. We've been hearing about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to E3. It's going to be a weird time. I'm excited to hear more, like firm dates from people. Like I want to hear more. I want to hear when Nintendo's going to do something. They do tend to do something around this time.
They'll do something. They will.
And like I'm here for that. They had a fairly chunky direct recently where they announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They've announced the Splatoon 3 release date recently outside of a direct. So yeah, I wonder what we'll get from them. And then yeah, whenever Sony's going to do something. But yeah, Xbox's conference is going to be cool, and hopefully Keighley puts on something really fun with Summer Game Fest when it's not the Game Awards trying to juggle awards and all of that.
You'd watch it in a cinema if you want. Messy. You can watch it in an IMAX.
Yay! I guess you wouldn't have to be quiet, but I don't know. The trailers aren't going to be IMAX formatted. Like, none of it's going to be IMAX formatted. No. It's going to be a Twitch screen on an IMAX cinema camera.
Yes. It'll be 4K, projector. But like, yeah.
You can't stream anything in 4K these days. Like, probably not. No, it's a live streaming.
The part of the deal, I think, is they're doing things in 4K.
Okay. All right. Well, fair. When, if you're going to go that far, that makes sense. Bloody good on it, mate.